All right, let's talk about Cartesian coordinates. So we're kind of jumping back to page 34, and Cartesian coordinates are actually on the bottom of the keys to achievable outcome, right at the bottom, the last 4 questions. We go deeper into this really in MasterPrac, but I want to explain the power of these 4 questions and ensure you really understand them. They're very, very important, and they're important because they are a reframe. Ultimately, they're a reframe for the client to be able to consider what are the benefits versus the costs. That's it, benefits versus costs. So how do we do it? It's very simple. And we ask, well, the first question, what would happen if you did? And you can do this in the case of someone considering whether, we're talking about goals, right? If we're looking at where we are doing this process, it's after the keys to achievable outcome. And so we're talking about what it is that they want. What are the goals that they have? What is it that they want to achieve? What will they feel when they have it? So we ask them, what would happen if you did? What will happen when you have that, when you achieve those goals, right? This is the benefits. And then what would happen if you didn't? This is the cost. This ends up being the cost. What it's going to cost them to not have the goal, to not achieve the goal. And then what wouldn't happen if you did? What won't happen if you achieve the goal? What wouldn't happen if you did? And this ends up being pretty much the benefits as well, versus what wouldn't happen if you didn't. So it's all benefits and costs, and the power of this is to continue to reinforce to the client what it is that they want, and to get present to the costs, because costs, again, if we're not considering the cost of not going after what we want, guess what we do? We're staying what we know. And when the costs aren't great enough, sometimes, if they're not great enough and we're not present to them enough, then we just tolerate them, and it's like the dog sitting on the nail. If it doesn't hurt enough to get off, they just stay there. So we want to really be drilling that in. And these questions are very confusing to the conscious mind, and so they'll be like, what? They have to wrap their head around it, and I usually make a bit of a joke about it at this point as well, that yeah, I know, like, these questions are really going to stretch your mind, but I encourage you to go there. Let them go there, encourage them. Don't let them right over the top and not answer it. This question is also really helpful in between sessions. If a client comes to you with a little concern or a little thing that's come up for them, like one of my clients called me up one day, and she was in marketing, and she had a background in a particular field, and she wasn't really working in that area so much anymore, and she had an opportunity to go back into that area in marketing. And she knew it was a good opportunity, but it wasn't really what she wanted to do. So she called me up, and she's like, oh, I can't make a decision about this opportunity that I've got. And then I said to her, I asked her these 4 questions. What will happen if you do it? What will happen if you don't? What won't happen if you do? And what won't happen if you don't? Similar structured questions to what you've got here. And she was able to come up with a decision. So it was looking at the benefits, what's the cost, and therefore was able to make a really quick decision, and literally was like a 5 or 7 minute conversation. It was super fast. So the Cartesian coordinates are really powerful, not only for getting someone to get really connected to what it is that they want and understand what's the cost of not achieving that, but also in making a decision about something that they may be just a little bit like, it helps to bring out the benefits, and it helps to bring out the cost of not doing that. Which could be also a positive, right? It could go both ways in the case of if I do the thing, if it's something that potentially is not going to align with them. In her case, what would happen if I do could have actually been on the negative in this case, and what would happen if I don't could have actually been the plus. So it can go both ways depending on the context of the scenario, but a phenomenal 4 questions to use in both of those kind of examples and situations. Make sure you dig deep. Make sure you stay with it. Let them empty out. So if I say to you, what will happen if you did get the goal that you set, keep like, and then they say one or two things, keep going. What else? 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 Get as many as you can. A whole long list there. And then the same thing for every other section. Make sure you just keep getting it all of it, all of it, all of it. Don't just get one or two. Get them to empty right out. Get as many things as they can. The more you get from them, the more powerful it's going to be, because that's highlighting benefits, more benefits, and highlighting more costs. And when we're looking at costs as well, a lot of people will avoid that. They don't want to consider that. They don't want to think about what will happen if I don't get the goal that I've got. So they operate over the top, meaning they just don't even consider it. They don't even think about it. They don't even let themselves go there. They're just dissociated. Right? Dissociated is when I refer to operating over the top, is just dissociated from it, because it's much easier. It's not painful when you're just operating over the top, is it? So you want to actually get them connected to the cost. That's going to make it so powerful. So powerful. And so therefore you have to get them digging, what else? Really think about it, try it on, and just stay with them while they dig deep. Amazing. That's it for Cartesian coordinates.